The subject of this video is modeling functions. We will model functions using function rules, tables, and graphs. But first, a couple of definitions. We have the independent variable is also known as your input or your x value. Then there's the dependent variable, which is your output or your y value. So when you're going to determine, y will be determined by the value of x when you do your table of values. Demonstration here on the graph below, you can see your independent variable is always going to be on your horizontal axis. Your dependent variable will be on your vertical axis. So as you graph your points, x and y, you always go across either to the right or to the left, depending on whether it's negative or positive for your x value. Then you go up or down for your y value. For instance, this ordered pair, you have -3, 2. So you'll go to the left, -3, and up 2. And as you can see on this graph, our scale is done so that every other one is a whole number, and the mid ones would be the halfway point, just to expand the graph a little larger. Here we went over 3 and down 4. So your input and output values are your ordered pairs. You plot the points. Then you join the points together to show the picture of the function that you are modeling. In these equations, this is a linear function, so everything will be a line. In some other functions, you'll have curves and even circles. To model the function, in this one, we're asked to model a function with a table of values and a graph. Here is our function rule. We're using the y notation. As you know, we could also have listed this as the function of x, because all the values you put in for x will determine your output for y. This is a new way to design the XY chart. It gives you a little worksheet here in the middle to actually plug in your x values and do the arithmetic as you go. You can do this without the middle part as well and use scratch paper on the side, but in this one, just for clarity, I put it together this way. So we've taken our function rule, we're putting in the -4, the 0, the 2, and doing the arithmetic. So half of a -4 is a -2 plus 3 gives you a +1. Your x and y coordinates will then be listed this way in an ordered pair so that we can plot the points on our graph. -4, again, you're going to go to the left for a negative value and up for the positive. 0 moves neither right nor left, just straight up for your y value. Then you have a 2 and a 4, and as you can see, it's joined with the line. Again, a linear equation. The x has no exponent larger than the 1. Okay, this is a word problem very similar to ones that you see on state tests and other types of tests. So let's break this into smaller pieces so you can begin to see the patterns. Suppose you want to copy and sell a CD you recorded. You've priced them around, and one company charges you $250 for the master CD and designing the cover. So this will be a flat fee. No matter how many you order, it's going to cost you $250. Then they also charge $3 to burn each CD in addition to the master CD. So your total cost, that would be the function of C, depends on the number of CDs burned. Use the function P of C equals 3 times C plus 250. This formula, this function rule, will let you solve for this domain. And we're going to make a table of values using the values in the domain 100, 200, 300, and 500. Again, I set up this table the same way as the last one. So you list your domain in your input or your x values, and then this will be your dependent value. Your total cost depends on the number of CDs that you order plus that $250. The 3 represents the charge of $3 each one of these will cost. So if you order 100 of them, you have the $3 cost for that CD times the 100 plus your flat rate of $250. That gives you $550 to order 100. You put in the 200, 300, 500, again do the arithmetic, and that gives you these values. So for 500 CDs, you would have $1,500 for the actual additional CDs plus your flat rate of $250. So it goes up to $1,750. Again, I've carried these out to the side, so I've written my ordered pairs, 100, 500, or 550, all the way down to these. And on this next chart, we're going to graph these points. That kind of formula helps you decide how many CDs you want to order and how much they'll cost. And it gives you the relationship between them. So these ordered pairs that we had on the last slide, as you can see here, I went ahead and graphed them. The important thing on this graph, as you can see, it's going to go up in a line because each extra CD is $3, so your slope is 3. The y-intercept, in other words, it's never going to be 0 because they charge you that flat rate. So you're going to start at $250 for this particular company, and then it goes up from there depending on how many CDs that you've ordered. And that is the end of this recording.